news is now hitting back on former President Trump for refusing to participate in the first GOP debate, reportedly restricting his campaign aides from the post-debate spin room where they originally planned to defend any attacks on the former president after what seemed to be a counter-programming effort by the former president. As we told you yesterday, former Fox News host Tucker Carlson is expected to air an exclusive interview with Donald Trump that happens to be during the debate. And now we know the day after the debate, when clips would presumably be played on repeat, well, that's when it's now widely announced when Mr. Trump will turn himself into Fulton County authorities. So here to explain exactly what this all means for the GOP frontrunner versus the leader in conservative media is Colby Hall, founding editor of Mediaite, the top resource and source for news about the news. So Colby, you are perfect to talk about this. How worried is Fox about these debate ratings? I mean, do they think Trump's absence or his announced absence will really hurt them?
Well, I don't think they're terribly concerned. We have to remember that this is the first debate of the entire 2024 election season. So this is literally like the start of the horse race. They're coming out of the gates. Now, would they prefer Trump to be a part of it? Absolutely. So much so that they sent executives to Bedminster to dine with Trump and to try to talk him into doing this. But my reporting tells me that Trump is completely over it, and he's really sort of mad at Fox. Fox will get good ratings. They would have gotten much better ratings if the most newsworthy person in the world were to attend. And I don't think the counter-programming effort to do the sort of Tucker interview will make that big of a dent, because that's pre-taped from last week. Not a ton of news in that. And it will be available sort of archival. It's not a live thing. So people always prefer to watch a live sporting event over one that's taped. And I think that metaphor is apt here.
Yeah, that's a really good point there, Colby. I think at this point, we all know that the former president has absolutely no issue going after Fox, going after anyone that he sees as an enemy. We certainly see it on Truth Social all the time. But Fox clearly does not want to alienate Trump supporters. So at this point, how does Fox navigate as they move forward?
Well, it's tricky. And you're right to point out that this is an evolving sort of political media ecosystem that we haven't really ever seen before, because Trump is really sort of, upset and insulting Fox News. A lot of Fox News core viewers are still very loyal Trump supporters. Further, if anything does come from the Tucker interview with Trump that's really newsworthy, Fox News is kind of painted into a corner. They don't want to promote the guy that they fired, who has been going after them as well. So it's really interesting and fascinating to see how this all will evolve. Fox really benefited from a cozy relationship with Trump and vice versa. It was symbiotic, but that appears to have gotten toxic. Fox is probably going to be fine, but the days of them having this sort of really dominant partnership with Trump, in which they both benefit, seems to be coming to an end.
And Colby, we know everything is interwoven. Everything is connected. We know, Fox just paid nearly $800 million in that Dominion voting systems lawsuit. They were lying about Dominion on behalf of the Trump campaign. So how does all of that play into this?
Well, there was a lot of thought that Fox News was going to change their coverage after that settlement. And I guess they have very slightly. But only now, 3 years later, we're starting to hear people on Fox News regularly just simply say that Trump lost. And, the time for them to say that clearly and loudly was in the weeks and months that followed the actual election. I mean, were the first to call Arizona and then for the entire race for Biden. But they really did, and they kind of kept it quiet and really didn't criticize Trump for what was called the big lie. And so I think Fox has another big lawsuit with Smartmatic pressing. I think they're going to be a lot more careful and try to be a lot more fact-based. Now, their viewers like more fact-based coverage. I think they prefer opinion. I suspect they'll probably stick with opinion and just hope that they don't get any more lawsuits.
All right. We will see what happens. All right, Colby, thank you. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.